Hannah and Simone Chaddha, sad ending to your amazing race journey on Wednesday. But Hannah, I want to go to a line that you said that stuck out to me on the episode. It was, remember, this is supposed to be fun. What were you thinking in that stressful moment when you were shouting that at your sister?
Yes, this is a competition and a race for $1 million, but at the same time, Simone and I didn't come into this race with $1 million. And so it's not like we're losing anything. We truly came on because we wanted to compete, we wanted to spend time together, and we got that. And so when you take that out of the equation, at its core, The Amazing Race is supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be about the relationship you have with one another and growing and learning from one another. And so I just wanted to remind Simone of that to kind of help ease the pressure of the competition itself.
I mean, that was a lot of pressure, Simone. I mean, it was the four of you, the final four, all just racing down this hill, and it looked like a nightmare. How many times did you go down that cobblestone street?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, first off, as in the wise words of Rachel Riley, as the amazing race is supposed to be fun and good. And it was just that, even in that moment, I would say we were there for about what felt like an hour and a half to 2 hours of just constantly sliding down the hill, walking back up. So if I had to guess, I would say maybe like 20 times, if you'd say the same, Hannah.
Yeah, I remember counting like 26 times.
Yeah, I totally believe that.
Yeah,
What was
exactly.
that day like for you? Because I mean, you struggled a little bit early on on the first part of the leg, but you got to the W turn and your faces weren't there. So what were your thoughts in that moment?
Oh my gosh, I remember that so clearly. We struggled during the very first detour. It was skinning the fish, and you really have to be precise. And it's not just about you getting it, it's about your partner getting it as well. And Simone and I had this rule where if we were at a detour for more than 10 to 15 minutes and we just weren't making any progress, then our, I guess, agreement was that we would try out the other one. And so we left because the other one seemed pretty straightforward. But when we were asking for directions to get to the other detour, people's phones weren't loading. Like no one had service. And so we were like, okay, let's stop wasting time. Let's go back. And so that is part of what really set us back was like wasting all of that time trying to find directions to get to the other detour and then just deciding to return to where we were. So anyway, we end up getting that detour, and I think that detour was about going slow and steady and being patient with yourself and being patient with your partner. And so once we did that, we ended up getting cleared. And in that moment, Simone, I remember feeling so discouraged because we didn't know that there was a W turn until we ripped open the clue, and we were thinking like it would just make sense for them to W turn the team that's in very last place to give themselves more insulation, whoever
Exactly.
that team may be. So we were fully expecting to see our faces on the board, and I felt defeated. And I think that kind of contributed to us being flustered and going to the wrong Bouja bar to get the next clue. And then when we finally ended up at the right Bouja bar, again, fully expecting to see our faces on that board because that's just what that would have made sense. And then when we didn't, we were like, wait, we still have life in this leg. Like it isn't over for us. And I think that's what allowed us to lock in. We got to the roadblock easy peasy lemon squeezy, no issues getting there. And I remember, so um, before this leg had started, Simone and I said that I would do this roadblock after the horse roadblock in the last episode, except for if it was a building challenge. And that was like the only exception because Simone is handier than I am. And when we were on our way up, Adam was like, it's building and racing. And we were like, okay, so Simone, it's your time to shine. Um, and yeah, Simone, do you kind of want to take it from here? I guess just like, or I'm sorry, Denton.
I mean, so you guys had gotten pretty far back. So did that really end up being what cost you in the end more so than people catching you at the roadblock? I mean, what was the worst? part of it all for you, Simone? Because you really took the brunt of this one.
Yes. Well, I would say to start off, when I got there, like Natalie was still there, Joseph was starting to slide down. And so I definitely, Chelsea was still there. So I definitely felt like, okay, it's an even playing field. Like we're kind of at like the same stage. And so I would say that as they started to leave and then never come back up the hill to adjust, that's when it slowly started setting in. And then, really, as soon as Christine and Paige got there, I think that that's when it really hit me that, ooh, okay, this is a go, and like pressure's on. And essentially, as they showed how Christine and Paige, they both helped me, even though they were in such stressful situations of their own, they still did answer my questions. And after that, because I had just been like finagling stuff, like things were just not clicking with building it. And if they wouldn't have been there, I would have been there, I think, for at least like 30 more minutes versus like the 15 minutes because I just could not figure it out. And so I think that coupled with the stress of building it, maybe just like things just aren't fitting, I think that that's also where it started. And then the race down the hill started. And
You
although
hit the
this is
wall
the
a few
amazing
times.
race, I don't think that I am destined to be a go-kart racer. I think that it's definitely a lot tougher than it looks. And so, sort of having that standstill, and although I was changing my strategies up as I went down the hill every now and then, I still wasn't making it to that 30-second, 36-second mark. So I think that that's also when things got like, okay, I all I can do is hope, but oh.
You crashed into the wall a few times. I mean, we
That's what
what's up?
happened. It turned into a little bumper car situation for sure.
Yeah,
This season obviously was like a Big Brothers All-Stars season in some ways on The Amazing Race. What was it like kind of being in that group? Because to me, watching, because I've watched both shows for so long, it felt like Big Brother players were almost trying to push strategy more on The Amazing Race than necessary at times. What were you thinking in that moment?
absolutely. So this season, I think you can just tell that it's different from most seasons of The Amazing Race because in most seasons of The Amazing Race, everyone's a stranger, so everyone is very much running their own race. It's a lot more independent. You see less strategizing, less alliances being formed, and it's more so just about how well can you navigate, how well can you follow directions, and how well can you complete the challenges. Um, I think this season is a lot more reliant on our social games. And Simone and I were honestly thankful for that because if ever meet Simone and I in person, we're pretty small. We were the second smallest team, we were the youngest team, an all-female team, and so we knew that a lot of these challenges just would not favor our profiles. They wouldn't favor our builds. And so we did have to I would say that our social game was honestly one of our strongest like characteristics. And Simone and I, we got along great with Joseph and Adam, and we have for years. Like we've known Joseph for a really long time. Got along great with Taylor and Kyland, even though they didn't give us the express pass. Got along great with Jag and Jess. So our relationships, I do think, served us because you see Joseph and Adam go, oh, we really love Hannah and Simone. We're working with them. That's part of the reason why we're U-turning Rubina and Christine. And I think the idea was that either Izzy and Paige or Rubina and Christine would go home. But unfortunately, because of that roadblock and how challenging it was, it ended up being us. But I think our social relationships with some of the other teams would have saved us during this leg. Like that was the intention. So Simone and I were thankful that strategy and sociability kind of played a heavier part in this season because, as I said, one of our strongest suits, I think, as a team.
Was there anything that you wish they would have shown on TV that you didn't see?
Yeah. Honestly, like I think during the last leg in particular, because it was so emotional and up and down, like we started out in fourth place and then we devolved, if you will, or regressed to last place. And then we ended up climbing back up to sixth place with that dance challenge, saving our butts. It was so highly pressured and we were so stressed. that it didn't really show any of the moments where we were smiling and laughing. And yes, Simone and I took the competition very seriously. I think you can see our competitive nature in the way that we navigated this race. But at the same time, like Simone and I were holding stretch classes and jazzercise classes for the other teams and cheer classes and aerobics, and we were always singing and dancing. And so I wish they would have showed more of that because Simone and I very much tried not to take ourselves too seriously despite the competition. And I think that just reflects the dynamic that we have because we're very loving, smiley sisters.
Yeah.
And Simone, was there anything that they did show that surprised you about other teams that you were like, wow, I didn't know that was going on?
Wait, that is such a good question. Ooh, off the dome, I would say the thing that they showed about other teams that surprised me would probably be ooh, okay. I would say during flowers, since that was obviously like the first leg of the race and there was such like a clear gap, we genuinely had no idea what was going on with the sort of like latter half teams. And so see we had heard that they were in there for like hours and hours. But we had no idea if they would like document like, oh, they were there for like a super super long time or if they would make it look like okay it wasn't really that long, they just happened to be in the back of the pack. But I feel like showing the entirety of the flowers and like how grueling the process was for them and how intense it was like wandering in and out of the greenhouse, I was surprised that they showed it in its like entirety. But I'm so glad that they did. It was so so cool to see like everybody's individual journey.
Yeah. And honestly, like as I said, Simone and I had a pretty strong social game, and so I don't feel like there was anything that we weren't aware of in terms of like the inter-team dynamics. So I wouldn't say that anything has necessarily shocked me about the other teams. Yeah.
And just a final question, what was your favorite experience on the race? And did you get to really fully embrace the travel of it while being raced through these beautiful countries?
Yes. Simone, you go.
Sure thing. I would say, well, first off, my given favorite part of the race experience was spending uninterrupted time with Hannah, especially since we obviously live on opposite sides of the coast. And growing up, as we mentioned, we didn't live in the same like house all through growing up because Hannah was at boarding school. And so, really getting that uninterrupted time was so incredible and better than I could ever ask for. I would say my favorite specific memory, though, is literally any travel day. They showed a glimpse during our travels to Budapest, us sleeping outside on the benches, us like traveling in like the middle of the night. And like there was a moment where we slept like on the floor of a train station. And those are just some of my favorite memories because in those moments, I was thinking to myself, like, we are in the race. Like, this is what the amazing race is all about, is these fun, crazy scenarios that we would never be in on our day to day lives, but experiencing with such a special group of people are memories that I'll cherish forever.
Yes. And can I just add one more quick tidbit? Thanks, Denton. My favorite memory would definitely be the dance challenge because Simone and I were very much in our element, and that's all we wanted. We were like, we want memory, we want heights, we want language, and we want a dance challenge. And so we got to do it in the beautiful country of Hungary, wearing their traditional clothing. And might I add, we killed it. And the last favorite memory was honestly, getting a glimpse into each country's language, and this is something that someone and I have talked about before, but we would sit down with like the train conductor or someone working at the airport and ask them like how to say different phrases in their native language. And that definitely helped us. And they didn't show it during all of the episodes, but being able to ask for directions in someone's native language without having to like hold for translation, that was really helpful, and again just helped us immerse ourselves in the different countries and the different cultures. So that was a bucket list. Honestly, this whole experience was just nothing but bucket list items, and I could not have asked for a better person to experience this with.
Me too.
Well, congratulations. It was fun to watch. And sorry you're gone this early, but now we'll watch the rest of the season play out with the rest of us.
Yep, we'll see who wins, rooting for the all-female teams and Joseph and Adam.